Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 1995 action-adventure thriller film Jumanji. This is the original Jumanji based off of the 1981 novel of the same name, Jumanji. We had a 2005 movie called Zathura, which was pitched in the marketing campaign as from the same universe as Jumanji. But Jumanji is not actually referenced in Zathura, and then the sequel to Jumanji, Jumanji The Next Level, which came out in 2017, has no reference of Zathura. It's in the same universe. It's just a matter of where did these board games come from? So this movie stars Robin Williams, Bonnie Hunt, Kirsten Dunst when she was still a kid actor, and we've seen her grow exponentially since the 1995 Jumanji. I have written a timeline that I would like to discuss note-wise with everyone. You see my lovely chicken scratch here? So timeline in the sense of how far back does this story actually go? Because the 2017 one took place in 2016, and the one that just came out recently, which I still have to see that. I don't know the timeline on that yet, so I need to see what year it's taking place. Okay, so this movie, the 1995 movie, opens up in 1869. There's two boys, one's named Benjamin. They're burying a box. Kids bury game in woods, right? This is taking place in New Hampshire. Then in 1969, literally 100 years later, Alan Parrish, who's 12 years old at this point, he finds game in construction site, which is outside Parrish Shoe Factory, something like that. His dad owns a shoe factory in New Hampshire. In 1995, we flash forward, Alan winds up playing the game with Sarah Whittle. He gets sucked into the game. She gets attacked by bats. She's in therapy for 26 years, thinking that it's it was all a hallucination and that his father murdered him and chopped him into tiny little pieces, but he actually didn't. So then flash forward to 1995. Alan, Sarah, Judy, and Peter played the game and changed the timeline. So Judy and Peter are two kids who now live in the house after it's been abandoned for 26 years. And they find Jumanji up in the attic because they hear the drums playing. You hear the drums playing in 1869. You hear the drums playing in 1969. You hear the drums playing in 1995. The movie came out in 95, and the movie takes place in 1995. So it's all good. So then they play the game. Peter winds up rolling a 5 or 8, getting Alan back out of the jungle because he's been trapped in the jungle since 1969 because he rolled and the little screen said, "In the jungle, you must wait until the dice read 5 or 8, right? Now, I'm just going to put a pause in this timeline discussion because I have so many vivid memories of when I was a kid watching this with my brother. I was 5, he was 3 when this movie came out. We are pure 90s babies, represent. This film we exhausted on our VHS players and TVs with VHSs built into them, and we watch this movie all the time. And I haven't seen this in a while, so watching it and hearing the soundtrack and hearing the sound effects and the score, the gorgeous composition, it's really terrifying, but all these beautiful memories came back of playing the game with my brother and, being a kid and doing kid stuff, jumping off things and fighting lions and swatting mosquitoes away and, being a kid. So I love watching this movie for that nostalgia purposes. Okay, continuing, play. In 1996, Alan and Sarah throw the game in the river in 95. Because after they finish the game and beat the game, they get sent back to 1995, realizing that Judy and Peter don't exist yet. I'm sorry, they get sent back to 1969, realizing that Judy and Peter don't exist yet. They've stayed together all these years. But they throw the box in a river in 1995. In 1996, they throw the box in the river in 1969. In 1996, the box... Pause. Alan and Sarah are adults who have been together all this time. They changed the timeline. Parrish, shoe factory, what didn't go out of business. Carl didn't lose his job. All of these things didn't happen because Alan was missing all these years. So because he was back in 69, the timeline was rewritten, basically. Then in 96, Alan and Sarah throw a massive Christmas party. This is a Christmas movie. Look at that. Merry Christmas, everyone. And so Alan and Sarah throw Game in River. That was in 69. It lands on a beach. Alex... Okay, so why this is important. 96 is a big year within the Jumanji timeline. In 96, Alan and Sarah have a Christmas party. They meet Judy and Peter for the first time in that timeline. And of course, Judy and Peter have no idea who they are because they were never a part of the game after the timeline changed, right? And Sarah and Alan want to make sure Judy and Peter's parents don't get killed in the Canadian, skiing car accident thing. So they make them not go on their vacation, start the marketing work immediately on the new product line, and all is well, right? Okay, also, so in 96, then the very final bit before the credit rolls, we see the board game land on a beach. Okay. Flash forward to 2016 for the 2017 Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle film. Starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Karen Gilliam, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and then their teenage counterparts as well. The movie, the 2017 movie, starts out in 1996 when the 95 movie ends, okay? This character is running on the beach, finds a board game, brings the board game home to his son, whose name is Alex Vreek, and Alex is like, board game? Lame. Puts it to the side, plays video games. Overnight, the board game and all of its magic wisdom transforms itself, right? And so it becomes a video game, and Alex then plays the video game. We talked about Jumanji 2 years ago. Jumanji into Welcome to the Jungle. We talked about it 2 years ago. But I do want to revisit this, just because we're talking about the timeline. Excuse me. Alex gets sucked into the game as Nick Jonas's character, and then Alex Vreek's dad finds... we said that, 2016. Okay. Spencer, Fridge, Bethany, and Martha play the video game in detention. Alex gets sent back to 1996 after they win the game, and everyone remembers everything. So, there's no actual plot holes within this timeline of everything, because, like I said, we already talked about it, Welcome to the Jungle. We don't have to talk about that again. It's a great movie. It was hysterical. But the timeline was changed again because when those kids won the Jumanji game, the video game, Alex got sent back to 96, grew up, met everybody in the street again at Christmas. These are just Christmas movies. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy Christmas. The whole Yuletide joy. So everyone remembers everything because everyone was still alive at that point, kind of a thing, right? All right. So the kids get sent back to 2016, and Alex is now a grown-up with a child at 2016, named his first daughter Bethany because the girl who saved him, gave him an extra life, etc. We talked about it. So it's great. So that's why I'm curious what this next one is actually going to curtail, like what the plot points of that is going to be, timeline, etc. I'm very excited. It's doing phenomenal at the box office, so it'd be great. So the 95 movie is a classic, especially within memes, because every time you see something referencing, what year is it? Is Robin Williams as Alan Grant. Oh my God. I'm thinking Jurassic Park now. Talk about your 90s movies, right? 93 classic Universal film. All right. Alan Parrish. There we go. Robin is Alan Parrish, just getting out of the jungle, talking to Carl in the street in front of the Parrish estate, and goes, what year is it? It's 1995, remember? So I love this film so much, again, from the nostalgia purposes, but this was peak technology at that time. This was a beautiful blend of CGI versus puppetry. There were so many puppets within the lion was a puppet, the spiders were puppets, the plants, those beautiful plants were puppets, giving a lot of ode to Little Shop of Horrors, the Audrey 2 pod. Feed me! Feed me! Right? Feed me, Seymour. Feed me now. All right. I love puppetry. I love Muppets. I love Little Shop. I love Jumanji from the puppets. I love puppet plants. I don't know. It's just, I grew up with Little Shop. My mom was always a big fan. Little Shop is awesome. Little Shop of Horrors. So, I love the monsoon scene when all the hell breaks loose with the waters and the alligators. I love the stampedes. I love the plants growing, the quicksand up in the attic, and then it hardens again, and the lions in the bedroom, and that whole scene of Robin breaking out from the earthquake, swinging from vine to vine. The lion takes a swap at him. It was unlike anything's ever seen, anyone's ever seen before within an action film. At that time period, this was a game changer when it came to film, and it's cool because you can see certain cinematography things now that this film was ahead of its time with way back when. So that's why it's impressive that the sequel, the 2017 sequel that took place so many years later, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, did so well. It did over $900 million at the box office. It was so shy of, I think it was $964 million at the box office. Literally less than 40 shy, 36 billion shy to be precise, of a billion. And this the next level is doing great as well. I'm really happy that there's so much enjoyment within this Jumanji series, because so many people were like, oh, don't touch it, you can't replace Robin. But it's not replacing it, it's just the next chapter kind of a thing. I would love, after this current movie that's out right now does exceptionally well, I want a prequel. I want a prequel going back to 1869, where this 95 movie opens. I want to know how the game went for these kids. One of them's name is Benjamin, before they buried it in the ground in New Hampshire. I want to know if they got an origin story. I want to know how they got the game. And then I also want to know if the same person who made the Jumanji game made the Zathura game at the same time, or if the Zathura game was a completely different person making it at a different time period, because obviously there was no space exploration or space travel in 1869 when the Jumanji game was buried. I know I might be overthinking it, but I really want a prequel to this. This has a lot of potential to make a prequel of the origin of the game. Who created the game? You know, we had Annabelle creation origins. We had the Jigsaw movie, which was an origin of Billy the Puppet for Saw. Like, there's a lot of origin movies. So, like, I really think I see a lot of potential to set as film in the 1800s of this. I think that would be really neat. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. What fond memories of nostalgia do you people have with Jumanji? 1995, Jumanji. Such a great, warm, scary film that just is wonderful to pretend you're on safari and fighting off carnivorous plants. Mucho mahalo.